But most of us are just work. There's communication gap between us as colleagues, as nurses, as even between patients and other caregivers on the wards. So this afternoon, CMD will join us for this seminar. It's in the meeting right now, so we should start. So I'll be, this afternoon, please let us welcome one of our guests. She has been coming here. No, she came here some time ago at this same nurse's house to talk to us about our nursing procedure, how to carry pan with pride, even though it's hot, carry with pride. But most of us nowadays, we are now graduates. How can I carry a bedpan? A nurse is always a nurse. So please, let us stand up as we welcome one of our good resource personnel in the name of Mrs. Mabel Okumbowa. Let's clap for her, please. It's not easy. She'll be talking to her and our provost, College of Nursing, Mrs. Abeyowa. Fortunately, we are all classmates. Grade 27 intake. So today, she'll be talking to us about communication. Listen and be blessed. And I hope it will change our attitude towards patients.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, let's sit down. Thank you. It's very, overwhelming when you have your colleagues over there listening to you over here. I feel honored to be part of this, to be able to interact with you, because I call these interactions, because we have a lot to learn from each other, honestly. Let's think about when we had our children. Language is the first thing we teach them. We start with those syllables. Ma, da. The first time your child called you mama, I don't know about you, it made me feel good. Especially when we celebrated the first Mother's Day and I was a fresh mother. I felt good. If we were taught communication in that early age, how come we are still talking about communication in my 50s? So something is probably fundamentally wrong with the way we change the culture along the way. So communication is not new to any of us. I mean, even if you don't, we have sign languages now. It's all communication, you see? So when your head of department chose that topic, I was just thinking this is going to be interactive too, because we all know what communication means, right? I was in the church for Thanksgiving yesterday and I sat among 4 children or 5. There was this particular kid. I was so impressed. I want to follow up with that child. Every time that child got up, he would come to me, because I selected these children away from the school, from their classroom. So I sat with them on the adult side. So I was just watching these 4 or 5 children. This particular child, we always come to me and say, I want to go ease myself. Then he will leave. And then the other time is, he was always coming to me to take that excuse before leaving. Whereas the other children, they were just doing whatever they like, So you see, these are children, same age group, but different culture. So I was thinking, what is different? Maybe their upbringing, you see? So this is how we change the culture of communication along the way. And I'm so convinced that this other one child that is exceptional, if the parents just continue like that, that person's communication skill is going to definitely be different as the child ages. So it means we are all parents here one way or another, whether you have your own, whether you are adopted. So this communication we're going to talk about today should not just be for our nursing care. We need to take it, we need to digest it, we need to take it home. We need to take it into the buses that we commute at. I had some issues with the media people 2-3 days ago. They were late because they almost got into an altercation where they were supposed to, board a ring road to come to the event center. So that was communication issue. And that affected the entire program. See? So communication is a big thing in our community, in our workplaces, everywhere, in our marriages, raising the children. So I don't want us to come here and thinking this management, Ubth management people, they want us to learn communication because of them. No, this is just for you. It's for me, So that way, we can be exceptional like that little child. And that child was very humble too. No wonder such children, such is the kingdom of God. So, and what set them apart from you and I is humility. Humility. If you're not humble, you cannot receive this. You got to be humble like a little child to receive this communication. All right, let's dive into it. What is communication? I want to read this because I didn't want to memorize this, and because I needed everybody to get everything in that definition of communication in nursing. It refers to a process of exchanging. I like that word, exchanging. So it's not one way, so it's bi-directional. Information, ideas, emotions, messages between nurses, the patients, the families, and other healthcare professionals. So bi-directional between this group of people. Otherwise, there's no communication. If it is one way, pointing just to you, which is wrong, that is what is fundamentally wrong in marriages. The communication is one way. If the man is a boss, he just wants you to listen. If you're not listening, then we're not talking. So it has to be bi-directional. And then he said it is fundamental component of nursing practice that ensures effective care delivery. If something is fundamental, it is part of it. If we take it away, we are wasting time as nurses right now. Whatever we are called to do in this building, we are wasting time. If we pull off communication, because it's fundamental part. And without that, see what is going to go wrong. It ensures effective care delivery. So if you pull it off, your delivery is not going to be effective, whatever care you're giving. If you pull it off, the patient safety issue is going to be jeopardized. If you pull it off, whatever therapeutic thing you are here to give is not going to work. If you pull it off, of course, human relationships is going to go to the drain. So please, whatever you do today, even if you don't get anything, try to get this definition down into your core and take it home and practice it in your home. And substitute anywhere you see nursing, just substitute it with family. And then you'll have, it'll be done for you. So next slide. Types of communication. We have verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, visual. So I'm looking at you right now. It's a form of communication. And then electronic communication. We are all going high tech now. So especially our age, we need to move fast with our children because the gap is so big right now. For me, I'm hurrying up because I'm in Nigeria, right? And I'm here texting my son, please, I'm stuck. How do I do this? Can you help me do that? Can you help me do this? And then they just do it within a few seconds. And I feel like a fool, So electronic communication, next. So what is verbal communication? It's exactly what I'm doing right now. Your head of department was here. She said something. That is verbal. I'm actually opening my mouth to tell you or talk to you. That is verbal. However, for this communication, this verbal communication, for it to hold water, look at the thing in yellow.
your tone of voice. If you shout at your child, the possibility is that they're not going to listen. I'm not talking about sparing the rod and spoiling the child. That's not what I'm talking about. You can still make your intention known to that child, okay? If you watch the tone of voice. I caught my children once upon a time. They didn't know I was walking upstairs. So I heard them all talking, and then I waited. And then I heard my daughter say, "Don't you watch her? When she opens her eye like this." So they are watching. See? So they know to watch my eyes. You see? So the clarity of what you're talking about. At times, we talk to each other. We're not clear. You have one thing in your head or in my head. I'm not communicating it to you. I'm not clear. That is why you see people, they clash. Because I want to tell you this. At the end of the day, when I'm ready to apologize to you, and I'm telling you, "Oh, I didn't know that is what you meant," because I was not clear. Just think about that between you and your patient and the families and the doctors and everybody else that you are working with. The choice of words. Your choice of words. I'm sorry, I'm always using marriage as an example because we can easily identify with marriages. And whether you like it or not, as a nurse in here, you are married. It's also like a marital relationship with your work. So your choice of words, I can say the same thing and make my husband to do it, and I can still say the other way around, the same thing, and he will not do it. Same thing with you and your patient and the other department within the hospital. So choice of words, it matters a lot. That is why some people say that when he or she talks to you, she can talk a monkey down from the tree because of choice of words. Okay. So for your messages not to be misinterpreted, these are the things when you are doing your verbal communication to take into considerations. Are you following all that thing in yellow? Okay, next. Non-verbal communication. It carries the same weight like your verbal communication. And I'm sure my Madam Provost here, she told me in the office, "Why are you looking at me like that?" See, she has grown to I mean, let me even go back to our roots. When my parents were raising me, they didn't have to say a lot. They just have to look at you. And then my mother is telling you, "Don't eat that food." It's not verbal. The children of these days, even when that person says, "Oh, eat, it's okay." The children of this day will tell you, "My mother said I should not eat." And then she will be like, "When did I tell you that?" The way you were looking at me. That's the kind of children we are raising now. But those days, "Oh, I'm not hungry, thank you, mommy." Because you looked at the eyes of your parents. So same thing. Your patients are looking at your eyes. You're not talking though. Okay? It's non-verbal. Your body languages, all of that. It's non-verbal communication. It carries the same. I did not say anything. No, but your body language says it all. So that is non-verbal. So these are cues, okay? Your facial expressions, your gestures. Madam, sit down there. They come. To me, I'm here and I'm a vulnerable patient. I need love. When somebody tells me, "Sit down there," I needed somebody. There is something called psychosomatic disorder. The head, what is in the head, manifests in the body as illness. Because why? When I think, there are neuroendocrine hormones that are being released. The way you treat me will trigger those good hormones, like the endorphins, for example, to heal my body. Because of just the way you're so empathetic, you're full of love, in just listening to me. That's why I love touch a lot with my patient. When you touch and just wait, don't even do anything, just touch and wait. They feel loved. The hormones released with that, they're already healed, 50%. So think about that, okay, when you take care of your patient. So next, written communication. This is a big one. In our hospital setting, we do a lot of writing, doctor's orders, okay, interdepartmental orders, okay. We must get that one right. Otherwise, BID is not the same as TID, right? So now we have a lot of electronic communication. You know, in my hospitals where I work, there's something called like read back. Because the doctor might be doing, you know, so consumed with his suturing, and he say, can we give some bupivacaine? I just can't give some bupivacaine. So I have to bring him to my world and say, okay, what strength do you have? What strength do you need? You'll be like, they are holding syringes already. They are like, anesthesia, I want to give bupivacaine. How much can I give? You can't just ask that. Okay, I have to ask you, what strength are you giving? Is it with epi or without epinephrine? Then before they stop and say, oh, what do I have? Oh, I have with epi. See, we have to bring them to your world and let them stop. That way, that communication goes all the way. Because the patient's on the table. They are on the receiving end. So that's how much you are so vital when it comes to, you know, interprofessional relationship and communication. So if you are good with written communication, it ensures continuity of care. When we give report, I'm relying on your accurate documentation for me to continue my care. So if you heard something wrong from the doctor and you wrote that down, now I'm going to inherit it. I'm going to be the one to execute. How many times when we are handing over, that is that time, everybody want to go home, but then you just got an order and you are passing it on to me that you have an order. So you better make sure you are writing it. We cannot assume, you know, many doctors, they don't have good handwriting. We just cannot assume it. Wherever they are, we have to call them. Listen, this is like chicken handwriting. I can't make it up. Please, what did you want? What did you, you have to clarify that. Otherwise, the patient is on the receiving end, and we have no choice to just say it's the patient, because that could be our loved ones, So next. So types of communication in nursing continue here. Then we have a visual communication. So here, the use of visual aids. There are some patients, for example, pain. There are some patients, they don't understand when you're trying to elicit the level of their pain for you to medicate them, because the order says, scale of probably 0 to 4, give 4 milligrams of morphine, 6 to 10, give. So what we did is to use, facial expressions of when somebody is in pain, and then we open it to them. So this is when your pain is 10 out of 10, you are really in severe pain. Point to the one that fits your level. They will point to it. That's a visual aid, for example, of communication. That's the only way they can tell you about your pain. Remember, pain is subjective. Okay, it's what, you see, even if you come to me and I already rang my bell, you came to my room, and I'm on the phone, just laughing away, I am the one to tell you that I'm pain at 10 out of 10. You cannot say, me, I should there for 4, they laugh for them. You can't do that. The patient tells you she is in pain, you must address pain. We have to address pain, okay? As long as probably it falls within PRN Q 4 hours. PRN, it's already 4 hours, and it's PRN, and we have to stay on top of pain, especially post-surgical pain within the first 48 hours. We must stay ahead of the pain, so we don't assume. Because when we do that, patients feel that you don't love them. You don't understand the pain they are going through. After all of our pain thresholds, they are different anyway, right? So I might be a Jepako and I can stand it, and you are just a Jebota, you can't. So that's why pain is subjective. Next. Electronic communication. So with advancement in technology now, we are using a lot of electronic communications, emails, text messaging, all of that, okay? I don't know what we do here, but in my hospital, we even have iPads that we carry along. Even that is where the patient will sign their signature, because they are trying to make sure that patient information is, tightly regulated, okay? So electronic communication is one way. We are trying to streamline the care with UNO, because when that care coordination, what I enter in my iPad is almost universal within the healthcare system, so every other department can access what I put in that. So I open my patient's chart, and the patient said, the chart says I'm allergic to morphine. How many times have I seen that? A lot. So now it's my time to interview the patient. What are your allergies? I'm not allergic to anything. Okay. And I need that morphine as part of my, care for this patient. So what happened? But the allergy is triggered in this patient's chart. How did we get there? Somebody charted it. Somebody triggered it. So electronic communication. You are not charting just for yourself. You are charting for the entire hospital. So we must be cognizant of that. Okay? In the court of law, don't forget, they all have access. Your patient, they all have access to electronic record. If there's any litigation, the lawyer will blow this thing up. The thing you don't see with your own naked eyes, they will so blow it up, they will have questions for you. When they keep you in that little cubicle, you will not discover that you don't even have enough to say in the cubicle when they are questioning and quizzing you. Electronic recording. Another bad thing about electronic recording is that you cannot falsify. The fact that you have a bad outcome, let's say the patient died along the way, now you quickly go back and look at what you documented. Listen, the monitor in your room they sync it to your recording. If you manually go there and change it, you can't change it. It's engraved. Because if you change it, the lawyer, they know what they do. They will bring it up. Honestly, they know. So it's better to just line up your documentation and put a note. What happened there? If you like, you can call it an artifact. This looked like a blood pressure of 20/60 or 60/20. It was an artifact. Okay? Then they know that you were actually watching your patient at that time. You were paying attention. So be careful with your electronic recording. Next. So we have divisions of communication. Divisions of communication. Would you have even been thinking or dreaming that intrapersonal communication is a form of communication? Internal dialogue. Internal dialogue. I mean, this goes on all the time. Gosh, I'm so grateful the way we are created and wired. Somebody will be just standing in front of you and they are cursing you out. Intrapersonal. That is what is saving all of us right now. If somebody was seeing through us and they just know what you're thinking, I just don't know how this world would have been like. So intrapersonal communication. And I hope we are using it a lot with our dialogue. So you are reflecting, you are having your critical thinking skill, you are having your emotional regulation. If you don't have your emotional regulation, you want to kill some patient, right? You just want to take their head off. But for me, I'm just reassuring myself, it's okay. This too shall pass. She could be my loved one. This is not worse than my husband. All of that is going on in my head, and this patient doesn't even know it. The good thing about intrapersonal communication is that I can be smiling away, masking this thing, right? So intrapersonal communication is a very big tool that we in this healthcare system, we need to use it a lot. We have to. Otherwise, we will be fired the next day from our jobs. Because some of our bosses are so, so we just have to smile. Okay. So, next. Interpersonal. So the first one was intra, all into yourself. You're taking care of that communication. The next one now is inter, me, you and I communication. Okay, you and I communication, such as between you and the patient and the families and other departments in the hospital setting. So this inter can be one-on-one talk. Okay, can be between 3 people. Okay, small group. It's very important if you want to build trust, educating one another, and very effective with collaboration of care within the hospital. I cannot collaborate the care by myself, right? It has to be true interpersonal communication. Next. Group communication is different from communication. This involves communication with a group, such as healthcare team discussing patient care after meeting. For example, if a patient dies on the unit, so we have to debrief this case, right? So we may end up having, maybe, let's just say, is in surgery. So we have 2 people from probably anesthesia, then we have somebody from surgery, the real surgeon, and then we have the scrub tech. So we have the first assist, the second assist. So all of us, we form that small group to debrief so that we know what happened during that surgery. It is important. So that kind of small group is necessary. The communication that goes on there. At times, this very group, it involves the family members, okay? They have to be part of this thing because we cannot hide anything. There's nothing secretive, okay, in our care system. So that kind of group communication is what we're talking about. And it fosters teamwork. Because if we debrief and we find where the loophole was, next time, we are not doing this to crucify anyone. We are not doing this to fire anybody. We want to make sure that next time it doesn't happen. We have to cover the loopholes. So it fosters teamwork among everyone involved in this patient's care. Next. Public communication. So nurses may also engage in public communication that involves addressing a larger group. This is the kind of public communication that we are into right now, okay? At times, it might even involve the media. That is a public form of communication, seminars, public health campaigns. When we go out there in the, community, Madam Provost is gone. So when we go to the field, all of that is also public communication. So the good part of it is that, public communication is critical for disseminating health information. For example, you go out to the field there, you want to educate the public about hand washing techniques. That is a public communication. Next. All right, we want to go into effective communication. So all these kinds of communication we already talked about. How do we make our communication effective? The ability to convey that information, receive that information in a manner that is clear, compassionate, and conducive. Okay, that is what it means for it to be effective. It involves not only the transfer of that information, but also listening, empathy, and adopting communication style to meet the needs of our diverse patients. So that's why that thing is in bold: listening, empathy, and adapting. If that is not a component, our communication will not be effective. Next. So we're going to take those bolded words and see what it means to be an active listener. For me, so I'm hanging up a phone in my little thing here at work. It is that time that I'm with my patient doing my pre-operative interview that my phone decides to vibrate or just ring. Shh. should I look at that phone at that time?
No,
Why?
when you were communicating with your patient, because you will sort of distract her.
Should I look at my phone at that time?
No, because at that time you are distracted, you are distracting the patient, there's no emotional feelings. So the patient will feel you're not with him or her.
Anybody, is there anyone that if you have anything opposite of what they said? So everybody agreed like that, right? So, but we have to weigh, remember we are in a world of technology, right? So, this is a mode of communication between the departments as well. Okay, let's say it's okay to look at it. It is true. You talk, because that phone may have come, because I love to, with what I do, I love to get my patient ready emotionally. I like to connect with my patient emotionally so that I don't have to go digging for more midazolam or Versed to give to this patient to calm them down. That's why for me, I like to connect. At times, I'm in the room prepping for my case, and the nurses come back to the room after seeing the patient, they pre-op, and they're like, you better get more drugs. That patient is so anxious. They tell me that. At times I tell them, I don't need more drugs. I'm going over there. So, because they want me, you bet I'm going to try my best to win her to my side, and she's not going to need more midazolam. You see? So let's say that is the patient. And as soon as I just started all this, my TLC, and and at times they just see me, and I introduce myself. Oh, yeah, you are the one I wanted to talk to. Please, I need drug. I need to calm down. That is when I actually pull my chair and I sit down and I'm holding you. You bet I'm going to talk you. So I will so sweet talk you. You will not remember that drug. You know. Miss Jane, how are you? So what are your fears? Why are you so anxious? What do you fear the most? Most of them is like, I want to wake up. Please make sure I wake up. I have my children. I have my husband. This is what I tell them. I say, listen, I'm sure you've already, entered the plane probably one time or another. When you're about to miss your flight, you run like crazy to make it, right? We don't think, I said, do you know what we don't think about? You are only at the mercy of your pilot. Going under anesthesia is safer than that. Really? Yeah. I'm going to be there with you all along, watching over your heart, your brain. Nobody's watching over you there except for your God. Yeah. So I will take them through this journey. They will understand where I'm coming from. Oh, really? Yeah. You don't need all that drug. You know what? If you take a lot of drugs right now, actually, that will interfere with how you wake up, actually. Don't make me do it. Okay? You know the best. Now she's putting the ball in my court. You see? So let's say this is that same patient and my phone goes off. I'm not looking at that phone. I will not. Because I don't want to break through that train of thought for her, because I want to win her to my side. Okay? Same scenario, but the patient is not anxious. And the phone goes off. What should I do? But remember, I want to answer this phone call. What should I do? So the same two of you that said you don't want to answer this call, but now you want to answer this call. What should be the different approach?
I think you excuse yourself politely.
The same phone. She says, you can excuse yourself politely. The same phone. You see? So this is what we're talking about when we say communication. You're not anxious. You don't have any immediate need from me, is what I call it. Oh, Miss Jane, just a second. Let me see if it's actually attach something to it that will make them feel it's okay for her to pick it up. It's all about approach. Oh, Miss Jane, just a second. Let me see. Oh, that is the room nurse. I'll take care of it later. Oh, my anesthesiologist want to talk to me. Just a second. Then I eventually pull in the curtain and I step out. But I want to make sure I leave her. When I'm leaving her at a state where she's not biased. She doesn't feel like she's neglected. She really feels part of the, because I'm making her be part of the decision-making process. You see? So how you approach it, the situation, your overall critical, skills. You want to bring all of that into the picture. So that was active listening. When your patient is at the verge of collapse, active listening will do the trick for you. They need that empathy. They want sympathy. They want to know that their nurse care. It's not just the patient, your colleagues. When I went to the anesthesia school, it's one of the Ivy League school, top 10. In that school, if you have personal problem, like you are undergoing divorce, don't bring your problem to the school. Okay, you deal with it. If you don't deal with it, now you are bringing yourself to the spotlight. If your grade drops, now they have something to latch on. You see? So for me, I went to a school that the professors, they were calluses. They did not care about our emotional, needs. So active listening. All right? Clarity and simplicity. That is another thing that will make your communication effective. How clear are you? I always tell, for me, I'm always like there antagonizing people at work. Some of them will be like, oh, no, it's okay. When you finish, we take you to PACU. As soon as it comes out from the ORO nurse's mouth, we'll take you to the PACU. I said, what is PACU? You know the meaning of PACU. This patient does not know what is PACU. Simplify it. We're taking you to the recovery room, It's okay, don't worry, I'm going to give you midazolam. What is that? I don't have to say midazolam. I can tell you, when all the paperwork is signed, I will give you a relaxing medicine. We need to bring it down. We need to keep it simple. We're dealing with, diverse human beings with different literacy. So let's keep that in our minds when we start speaking medical jargons. Otherwise, we're not communicating with the patient. Even we're not communicating with each other. We should not. You see, all of us, all the fingers are not equal. Some of us are more educated. Some of you have, bachelors and masters and all that. You may have learned that medical jargon somewhere. So for me, I'm not afraid. Things are changing anyway. Many new drugs are coming out, So one point, when all these weight reduction medications came to be, and there is this one, when you take it, it slows down your GI tract. And we're supposed to be NPO, a minimum of 8 hours. So with all these new drugs, I'm not, so close to it. And they are like, let's go. And then the pre-op nurse is like, oh, this patient is taking this drug, and she said she took it yesterday. Okay, all right. So it doesn't matter. If it's just the nurse that told me that, for me, for her to even mention it, and I had already skipped it. Oh, I'm going to slow down the brake, okay? It's either I am looking it up right away, okay? Or if my anesthesiologist is just standing by, I'm like, hey, they said that drug. What is that? I don't have to be ashamed because I don't know everything. So we have to peel off our emblems of pride and ask. The nurses, they are seeing all these drugs all the time, putting them into the computer. For them to say something like that, for me, that's a red flag. I have to act on it right now, So, clarity, keep it simple, okay? That way you don't hurt yourself and the patient. Next. Empathy. If your communication is not filled with empathy, empathy means that you are standing in my shoes, okay? Think. All of us, we all have loved ones. One point or another, thank God, this sickness thing is evenly distributed among all of us. It's just that we all don't just get sick at the same time. One day, I didn't know, oxygen nasal cannula? Of course, everybody gets oxygen over there when, for surgery. So in the pre-op area, give them 2 liters of oxygen, we just go. So this day, I was going to do EGD. They wanted EGD for me. As soon as I got to the pre-op area before they started, they put the nasal cannula in my nose. Oh, my word. My whole face, I thought it was going to blow off. But this is what I slap on people every day. I never knew. every now and then, some of them be like, I'll be like, oh no, it's just oxygen. It's just oxygen. After I experience just oxygen, it's not just anymore. So what I do now is I will put the prongs in your nose. I'm not turning it on. Or if I turn it on, I put it on like 0.5 liters, so low. That's why also like when you work in labor and delivery, you know, I worked here 30 years ago. So I know what I'm talking about. We didn't have epidurals here, unlike in a place where you have epidural. Even with that, the first stage of labor, like you are 3 centimeters, it still hurts anyway. Then we do a VE and we say, oh, you are just 3 centimeters right now. You have to wait first until you are established. We need to be empathetic and think these things, they hurt. Okay? So it's good for us to be experiencing these things so that, like I did, never will I say just oxygen. No. No, I felt it and I know what I'm talking about. Same thing with labor pains. If a patient calls me for an epidural, I have to sweet talk them for them to be established in that labor before I put that epidural in. Okay? Feedback. Effective communication includes seeking feedback from patients and colleagues to ensure that the message has been understood correctly. Especially when, let's say diabetic, you're teaching them how to do finger sticks and read it and all that. Please, it is important that you let them, you've already talked to them, they need to demonstrate it back. I know that the strips are very expensive, but they need to understand it. What if it's just insulin, okay? The syringes, they are so small. My mom is a diabetic. At times when I'm there, I'm like, okay, draw it, let me see. It's not the same. It's not the same. And she's going to draw up regular insulin and then draw 70-30 along with it. It is not the same. So it is a constant battle of educating her over and over and over again. Even the spirit that they used to wipe. It's amazing how I went on a mission trip before coming now in Gombe. The spirit is poured into a Coke bottle. I don't have a problem with that. But that Coke bottle is perforated. We're dealing with alcohol. Alcohol evaporates. At the end of the day, you are using water. So the bacteriostatic effect of alcohol is gone, right? So feedback, we need it. Next. So what are the key characteristics of effective communication? Non-verbal cues. You want to pay attention to non-verbal cues, body languages, facial expression, eye contact. These are important. At times, you don't even know that you are causing harm than good. Watch your patient. Maybe what you said to your patient, you'll be able to elicit how they are receiving it. Then you change. Remember the tone of voice. They say he who is dancing on the stage does not know that he's not dancing to the tune of the music. So watch for all those cues that we put on. Again, all of this is not our fault. We are also under pressure, okay? But when we get to the right place, we are representing the hospital, we are representing ourselves, okay? It's your image. Okay, because if that patient sees you along the way, that nurse, she's an angel, right? That same patient will say, that one. So which one do you want? Same thing among your colleagues, okay? They can say something about you. So which one? What do you want? How do you want people to describe you with your verbal cues? Benin people says that when some people talk to you, your suffering goes away. To me, that is therapeutic, right? So we need to watch our non-verbal cues. There are more keys there. Cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity. Nigeria is full of diverse cultures, okay? We must, we should, we will be very sensitive to culture. Over there, we have some people from like, Islamic religion, Indians. They will just tell you, I don't want a male nurse. He doesn't want a male nurse. So it is not up to us to be saying over sabi. My papa and I get the hospital. No, they have the culture, probably not to expose themselves to the male, nurses. We changed that because customer satisfaction is the key. So we change it. We want to make them happy. Some of them, they will ask you, are there going to be male patient in the OR after I fall asleep? Dignity. We must maintain it. We can't lie to them that, oh, no. After they fall asleep, they don't know anything anyway. No. You don't want people to treat you like that either. So we must be sensitive to culture, okay? If you know they don't speak your language, don't speak English, be sensitive. What I do, for example, with the Spanish people, I don't speak Spanish, but I took it upon myself to make sure that the few Spanish that I need to put her to sleep and to wake her up, I learned those ones when I have not given her anything yet. So I need some few Spanish for me to know the airway status, because I'm the one opening this airway, putting an ET tube down. So if I don't get that in place, I'm going to get surprised after she falls asleep. So I'm going to be telling her, when you are waking up, when I say squeeze my hand, and I will speak the Spanish. When I say abalajojos, open your eyes. So we establish that communication before they go, because when they are waking up, they're going to be groggy. But they will hear that. Because if they don't do some of those things for me, I'm not pulling the tube. But I don't want to take them to the ICU intubated either. So I need to establish some things, okay? We have electronic communication now that we can call whatever that line is. Whatever tribe you think you are, so we call that. They will translate for us. Remember, be careful how you use families as your interpreters. Some are fighting over land and houses so they can communicate something. So it's not even advisable, because if that patient doesn't make it, and that case goes to the court of law, now they are going to be like, okay, who was the interpreter? So we're in trouble. So be careful on using close family members as your interpreters. Okay? All right, that's cultural sensitivity. Be very sensitive to the culture of everyone. Okay? Emotional regulations. Nurses must manage their own emotions, especially in high-stress situations, to maintain professionalism and ensure clear, objective communication. Truth be told, we all encounter things. At times, as you are about to head out of your house, is that your child, your husband, or your spouse, they do something. Whatever that thing that makes you get out of your house in rage, truth be told, it's not going to be over until you get to the hospital. At times, the first person I encounter when I clock in, and I say, good morning. You know what the response is? What is good about this morning? They tell me. Just imagine that person carries that to the patient. That person carries that attitude to when giving report. See, many things will go wrong. If they made it driving to the hospital without an accident, okay, the next person is going to get a hit. Or the CMD just comes to the unit, because they saw something, they go off on your boss. And she's all worked up, and then she want to go to that unit now and see what is really going on there without checking her emotions. The fact that they uploaded everything on you does not mean that you just come to the unit. Where's the nurse manager? Okay, communication is a key. We have to regulate those emotions. What you want to get across to your nurse manager, you can still do it the right way with good emotions. As you're walking down there, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to a human being. I don't even know your situation, But if I regulate my own emotions, I will get what I want out of you, okay, in the right way. Otherwise, if he misbehave talking to you, the whole system is going to be broken down, and you misbehave in talking to her. Now she's the last stop of the nursing. The patient is going to get it now. Okay, you will get it. Madam, I want water. I bet they come. Because you now feel like of all your hard work, your nurse, overhead nurse, they don't even recognize it. It takes only that one little thing that went wrong. Everybody is just so mad. They're not recognizing all this high stress level you are working. So we need to make sure that as we come down along the pyramid of these powers and all that, so we need to be very cognizant of people's emotions. Because we are human beings. Okay? We are sensitive. Okay? And this is why many marriages go wrong. They go wrong simply because of communication. At times I'm coming from work, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. As soon as I hit that door, I didn't even plan this. The first thing you meet your husband, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is that thing. Lord have mercy. I just, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Because if you don't say that word, you're okay, right? If it comes out, now you're in trouble to retrieve it. So you have to be ready. I learned to be ready, okay? Because it is that you are not ready. That is when you lose it. Always tell yourself, all human beings, you are not in control of anybody anyway. So the devil will just plant that person right there at the nick of time. If you are not somebody who is doing that intra-personal communication and smile it through the clenched teeth, you're going to just say something that you cannot even retrieve. And for me, I hate to give you my word that I cannot take back. Apologies doesn't even take it back. Because next time, they're going to still make reference to it and say, the last time, even though you apologized. So for me, I've learned my lesson to be like a dumb ship. I won't give you my word to walk on. I will smile it through. I might be cussing you out in my head. Okay? But I'm not going to give it to you. So we need that skill. Okay? To be able to take care of emotional regulation, because it's a big key to having effective communication. All right. So we have challenges in nursing communication. Okay? Nurses face several challenges when it comes to communication, and addressing this barrier is important in order to also improve our nursing care. Okay, next. Next. Okay, what are the challenges we are having? Time constraint. Time constraint. I always tell people, when they pay you $1, they want you to put in labor of 20, right? Unfortunately, we are in the middle of these interdepartmental people. You are the police officer of occupational therapists, the physical therapy, everybody. You are the stop life for everybody, right? You don't have time. And with this electronic documentation that comes now, this new generation of nurses that we are raising now, is about cross your T and dot your I's. Everybody's glued to the documentation. Because our bosses are going to come. As a matter of fact, they sit in their offices. They are watching your documentation. That documentation does not reflect the zillion times you gave your bedpan to that diarrhea patient. Huh? They don't see all that. They don't see all of that. And now you are trapped with that time constraint. That callback keep going off for this only one patient, and the family members are sitting at the bedside, and you have to attend. My mother poop again. my mother poop again, my mother poop again, right? And you have to attend to it. And you don't have time. I need to pass the drugs. The post-op patient is in pain. You see so many things dragging us. So you are going crazy. You don't have time. Nobody's understanding you. And maybe now your boss is rushing to the unit because her boss dealt with her, and now she's coming to me and saying, Mabel, where are you? Where am I? I want to pass the medication. I want to document. I want to talk to the patient. The family needs me. Just leave me alone. So emotional, you got to, and all of this, you have to balance it up for the patient's sake, because that could be your loved one. Time constraint. And they are not, the labor force, they are not giving you enough labor either. See, in our cases, if you're in the medical surgical unit, they give you 8 patients, everybody, 8 patients plus an admission coming, and now they slap you with 1 tech. I thought, as a nurse, you are the boss of the unit, right? These techs will come to you and say, I want to take 1 from you, 1 from you, 1 from you, 1 from you. What do? You do the rest by yourself. So emotional strain is another one. If you, I don't have time, so I'm going to rush now, okay? So emotional strain is another problem, challenge that we have. Get your emotion in place. That way you don't affect your patient care and the outcome. Next. Language barrier. You have to make sure you break through. If you know you cannot communicate with the patient, use sign languages to communicate with this patient, or use interpreter to help you out. Health literacy. In this part of the world, many patients may not know about, illnesses, pathophysiology and all that. You can work in another environment. They know more than you, so you better be ready and make sure you are so ready when they ask you any question, you are able to answer them. Next. Technology. Technology is supposed to simplify all of this for us. At the same time, it's causing a lot of chaos, in this. Like I said just now, the documentation. If you don't document, that is where they're going to catch you. They will not see you that you didn't clean the poop. Those are the kind of nurses we are raising now. Interprofessional communication. Because you are in the middle, you are interacting with every other department, so they are stressing you out. That is a challenge. Personal biases. Some people just look at you, they just hate your gut. For no reason. Maybe you resemble their mother-in-law that treated them so bad. And then you just be biased about that patient. Anything can happen. So it's a constraint. That will not affect your care for that patient. So let's watch our biases and just treat the patient as a whole. Body, soul, and spirit. Next. All right. So for the organization, we need trust, report, improve. That comes from leadership. Okay? If our leadership skills is in place as an organization, you bet the safety culture of the organization will be kept in place. Next. Remember, the goal is safety. At the end of the day, all this communication thing is about patient safety, right? Next. So for us to have a patient-centered approach to our care in our organizations, we have to adopt the following principle. Patient safety guides all the decisions we make. Patient and families are partners to all the kind of care that we give. We don't isolate families. We have to respect them and make them part of our care. We should also, be rewarded for doing so well, okay, in our care to this patient. Next. Which means our organization should reward us when we are doing good. Okay, not only disciplinary action. Licensed practitioner, you have to disclose whenever you do wrong. There's no reason to cover it up because they are, that could be your family. The hospital have to put measures in place like this learning. It goes a long way to improve our care. We also have what we call Joint Commission, which is a big body over there that is regulating our care. So every now and then they just appear in the hospital, and they appear unannounced. So we are not pretending to be ready. So they can then pick up things, they will bring it back to the hospital. We work on it so that when they come next year, we have improved. So that's from the organizational point of view. Staff and licensed independent practitioners must be fully engaged in patient family-centered care. Next. So what is the way forward in all of this? We are talking about training and education. The organization should be training us. This is part of the training so that we can be aware. I'm sure some things have been said here today that makes you think, that's true. Okay. Promoting team-based communication, our ability to work together as a team. So if we debrief a lot at the end of the shift, especially when something goes wrong, then we'll be able to work together as a team. Okay. Next. Use of technology mindfully. I gave like 2 examples just now. We can't just sit on our phones and the patients, they need something, okay? We have to be mindful of the documentation, technologically. Addressing the health literacy, like I said, if a patient doesn't know enough, you could get away with a lot of stuff, but that we should not, take them for granted. Let's take it as an opportunity to educate our patient and bring them to our level. So let's not keep them in the dark. This is way forward we are talking about, okay? Next. Create a supportive work environment. Our leaders, we want you to help us so that we can help our patient because it trickles down. So when you guys have good leadership skill and not just beating us, have at the back of your mind the constraint that we have, time management, emotional stress. When you all think about that, then we'll be able to perform. And then when we perform so well, encourage us, celebrate us. Just celebrate us one way or another. That way we have more strength to work. Okay? All right. Okay. Go up. So, next. Next. So, healthcare organization safety actions to consider continue. Conducting an internal assessment. So within the organization, always just, you can also, set people within your department. It's not that they are sneaking up on people or reporting people the wrong way, but just to improve. The reporting of those flaws, it should not be a disciplinary action. Those flaws cannot be part of the legal documentation, okay, of the patient's chart. Okay, it's quality improvement, they call it. It should be different from the main chart so that when this case make it to court, that quality improvement documentation, otherwise you're going to be killing your own self before the law. Okay, provide training, commitment. We need to be committed. Commitment is the individual decision. You just decide, I want to be committed to the patient, family, my colleagues, all that. So commitment, depending on how we are all raised. Next. Okay. I hope that we are taking home that communication in nursing is multi-dimensional. It's not one-way street. Okay, it's encompassing vigorous forms of verbal, non-verbal, and written methods of communication. Effective communication is essential for providing safe, compassionate care and fostering positive relationships between nurses, our patient, and other departments within the hospital. And by prioritizing active listening, empathy, and clarity, and putting the culture into it, if we do all of that, our communication will be effective and we will deliver safe care to the patient. And there will be a cohesive working environment. Thank you.
I think we can do better for her. We've heard it all. We've all heard it. So which means when we go back, please managers, ensure that you call your nurses, even those on leave, gather them and cascade this thing home. Because at the end of the day, it's to increase our patient's care, is it not? So it's a beautiful talk. Any question? Go off time. Or addition rather. Any question? Contribution? Provost, any contribution?
I want to thank our resource person, Mrs. Mabel Okungbawa. She's ever ready to give back. There are some of our Sonuta International members that will come. They are so busy, they cannot come here to give back to us. But for Mabel, she's ever ready. When she called to say she will be coming, I said, please, can you also include us in your schedule? We say, why not? And today she's here giving back to us. Mabel, thank you very much. She's not going to stop the lecture here. She's going to the department to also give the same lecture, but in a different manner to the students, so that they too can know how to communicate. My take is that we should not just see this as mere lecture. We have heard. Please let us put all that we have learned here into practice, because that smile will make a big difference. The frown on your face will also make a big difference. And remember, first impression matters a lot. By the time a patient is coming in from A&E, you are there shouting that the A&E nurse did not inform you. I have encountered it because I worked in A&E for years. I took a patient from A&E to the ward. He said, no, when you brought that first patient, you didn't tell me that you were coming with another one soon. I said, but I informed you that I will be transferring 3 patients to your ward. You said, no, I can't take this one. The first one you brought, I have not finished admitting. And as we were arguing, the patient said, Sister Beck, take me back to where I'm coming from. I'm comfortable there. Even when she eventually agreed to admit, the patient was crying that she wants to follow me back to A&E, which is not possible. We need to clear A&E. Other patients can come in without even informing us. And that was what I told the nurse. I said, I'm informing you now. In A&E, nobody informs us. They just batch on us and we just accommodate them. Please, let us communicate better, especially in front of our patient. If you have any difference, settle it out in the changing room in low tone. Low tone, so that the patient will even know. Like Mabel said, we should smile with clean teeth. Meanwhile, within you, you are burning. Let us practice it. If you practice it today, tomorrow, by next tomorrow, it becomes part of you. Thank you very much.
My Mrs. Mabel, on behalf of management, I want to say a very big thank you to you. In fact, he wanted to be here, but we're having some crucial meeting right now. Say thank you very much, and we are hoping to see more of you. So I think we'll call it a day, because they'll be going back to College of Nursing for our award presentation.
Yeah. For the students.
Okay, for the students,
Yeah,
eh?
for the students.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you all, please. So thank you very much. Grade 27 intake. So please, my beautiful nurses, let's give her a very big atanga.
Atama.
Atama. Atatama.
It's on that one.
Atama. 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 Abarina.
Thank you so much.
Atama. Labarina. Alabako. No. Atama. Labako. Pa. Labako. Pa. Labarina.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, my sister. God bless you. Thank you. I know. Hey, my sister. Thank you so much.